and welcome back to the Sword of Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with a well full of craft brew on the side. Like, a living well full. Not just like a regular well. Like
living well?
It, like, bursts out the
like
top.
A living will?
No, it's like craft brew that's like, hey, come drink me.
It
like,
says this to you?
Yeah, it comes out the top. It's a whole thing. We'll get into it later, okay? Stick around.
That sounds
Stick
wonderful.
Around. It's going to be something like that later.
I'd like 2 of those.
I'm Jade.
And I'm Nate. And on this episode, we are diving into chapter 46 of Blood of the Fold. And apparently we are going to find magical beer.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
We're drinking, just drink the beer.
I will. I promise. Hey, before we get into the chapter today, we wanted to let everybody know that we have decided an area of time for our live episode that we're going to be doing on Patreon for the end of the book. If you want more details, we are going to post about it on there. We always have fun during our live episodes. So yeah, we hope to see you there.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. And I am just super excited to be here, hanging out and talking about this chapter. We have another like switchy poo, though we're not sticking with one character again. We have a couple different ones.
Oh,
so.
I was like, what do you mean by switchy poo?
Yeah, okay, whatever.
No, that's fine. I understand what you mean now. My brain just took an extra second. Because, it does that from time to time.
Yes, that happens.
So we start this chapter off with Richard, who is getting really, really, really good at speaking and understanding and reading High Daharan. He can he's starting to be able to read it without really thinking about it. But then when he thinks about it, he's like, oh my God, like when you're riding a bike for the first time and you're little and you're like, I'm doing it. Hey, I'm doing it. And then you somehow forget how to do it and fall off the bike.
Yeah.
Like when you don't think about it, it's fine. But then you start concentrating and it fucks you up.
Or like tie your shoe.
Yeah.
I feel like that's happened a couple times. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking at it and it's not working. What's happening here?
Yeah,
okay.
You do it from memory so many times that you just don't have to. It's just there.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, over, under, or loop, swoop, pull, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. And you're like, okay, I guess it's Monday again. But yeah, that's what Richard is having with this language. But he's picking it up fast. He's got a good memory, so that's not surprising. He does learn that his ancestor, Ulrich Rahl, figured out a fix to the Dreamwalker situation. He was in this war 3,000 years ago, and they had an issue, obviously, with the Dreamwalkers. Then Ulrich figured out a fix to it. And the fix that he had come up with is the bond to the Lord Rahl that the Daharan people have.
Which we know is what is protecting people, which is why Verna is like, everybody be bonded to our friend. Like, you love him, right? He's your friend.
He's your buddy, right?
He's your friend. But also, I mean, so this is obviously the wizards at large are building the barrier to stop the Dreamwalkers. Like, that's their ultimate goal. And Ulrich is like, nah, we don't gotta do that. Everyone just has to say some words. It's fine.
Yeah, he came up with an immediate fix that everybody could do. And, I mean, they kind of were sus, right? Or they thought he was, because he's creating this thing to where everybody's got to be like, oh, Master Rahl, you're the coolest, man, for a long time while kneeling down. And they're like, okay, so he's going to enslave the people. When actually, he had a good reason for doing this.
Yeah, I mean, we have no indication that he was also not trying to, or that he was also trying to take over the world. We don't know what his ulterior motive may have been, but we know that his upfront motive was just protecting people without killing a whole bunch of wizards, because a whole bunch of wizards died in making the barrier.
Right. And, I mean, it was a huge cost then. And we know Richard learned about the huge cost it took to put the sword together. So wizards were dying left and right. And, I mean, I was going to say, and them shits is expensive. But it's more than that. Obviously, it's human lives. So, best not to waste those.
Yeah.
So Richard, this is all before Richard really comes to. It's just kind of been a recap, but he's been sleeping. He fell asleep pretty much working on the book, sitting where he was. So he wakes up, Kara tells him that there haven't been any messengers yet, and he's like, ugh, okay, and decides to go back to sleep. She just fuck with him a little bit. She's like, oh yeah, no, there's tons of them out there, but I told him you were all busy flirting with me, so, it's not even a big deal. And he just glares at her because he just woke up, is what I like to picture. She's like, no, dude, there's nobody here. Go back to sleep.
Yeah, no. I would have told you, probably, if there was important shit, so
right.
You're fine.
Even when you're sleeping, yes, I will wake you up. I promise.
This scene is kind of like one of those in a TV show when the character is like, you see him in bed, and so the screen keeps going black, and then it fades into like other parts of their lives. Not really their dreams sometimes, it's like memories or thoughts of other people.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's happening here. So we're seeing glimpses of other shit that we need to know while he sleeps.
And then Richard coming to and being like, oh, what the hell? So Richard learned that while the Sliph was very, very useful, it also let the enemy in. And that, turns out, is a really big problem and very dangerous.
Oh, kind of seems like something similar to that is happening, because there's like a bunch of shit in the keep. They're not wizards. They're like other things from somewhere else, like
an alien race called the Mriswith. What the hell is that?
Yeah. Seems a little like, maybe those are enemies.
Kind of sus.
Yeah.
Now that you would assume anything just walking around there in any sort of numbers after it had been abandoned came through there. Now that it's like blown open.
Yeah,
it just recently happened, so that's obviously where they came from.
Yeah.
Maybe, we don't know, but it would make sense.
Maybe not, because this Sliph was like, it hasn't.
Right. Exactly. That was my point exactly.
Okay. Anyways.
But yeah, so they can't risk the enemy coming in and finding their super special secret shit. Right?
Yeah.
Can't have that. So they decide to move it. And they move it to the Temple of the Winds. Right? So it's in the temple, it's not here, and so it's safe there. But then they go one further, and Richard reads that the temple is gone.
Just gone.
So they put it in the temple, now the temple's gone. And he's like, okay. I've learned nothing, except that's word salad. I don't know what that is.
Well, yeah, and my thought is, is literally you don't need it for yourself, then? You guys aren't using these things, so it's fine that they're just gone?
Oh, that's a really good point.
You're keeping them safe, but you might as well have burned it, right? Because it's gone now. They must have had a plan to get it back, but...
It might be stuff that it could be useful, but they just need it stored somewhere safe, so where the enemy can't get it.
In case they want to get it.
Like, yeah, they were probably using it, but they probably also... It seems like there were some special items that they wanted put away. But yeah, I'm sure if they were actively using something or needed it, they would have. But this is just for this is where they're tucking their nuclear bomb. You know what I mean? We only got one. Let's just make sure nobody fucks with that for a while, okay?
We don't have many more details. I just feel like it's risky business. Like...
Oh, definitely.
Shoving bombs in a house and then being like, oh, off to the ether.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, we can keep going, but I will be interested to find out about that.
That's where they were putting their weed stash, man. Yeah. They're like, oh no, they're not getting this. This is a very special strain. Anyways, Kara eventually does wake Richard up to tell him that a messenger has arrived. And he's like, yeah, it's whatever. It's fine. They never have anything to say. She's like, no. This guy has news.
This one does.
So Richard springs out of bed like that of the child from The Night Before Christmas to see what was he just hops out of... Yeah, and I missed it because I didn't remember the name. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, he gets up really fucking fast because this is what he has been waiting for. And the messenger tells him that they have found a crimson cape, a bunch of scorched trees, like some shit went down where this guy was, and dead Orsk.
No, they didn't know it was Orsk, but when they described him, Richard was like, that's Orsk.
Yeah, by the
Orsk.
description, he knows who it is, and then he knows that Orsk was with Kahlan. So Kahlan was directly involved in this, shall we call it a skirmish? Something like that. So Richard goes from sleepy, finally getting rest. You know what? That's how you know he's going to go fuck some shit up, because he's sleeping and restful. And he got his sleep now. Yeah, he's recharged.
He went to sleep like 6 times in a row, so you know that he's like fully charged.
Yeah, I mean, he's always got to be struggling most of the time. So now that he's like, I'm fully rested, it's like Popeye and his spinach. You just wait.
I'm surprised we didn't have a scene with him eating like an entire roast pig or something beforehand. Just be like, fully fed, fully slept, let's fucking go.
Let's go. Oh, I love it. So, judging by everything in this area that they're looking, where this skirmish took place.
Yeah, the hullabaloo.
The hullabaloo. Oh, great. I like that even better. We're one shy of a Donnybrook.
Oh.
Look, they know that the people who survived, apparently, are headed south. Richard didn't see that coming. He assumed that they would be headed towards Aidendrill. You know, where he is.
They should be, but...
Plus, he's like the lead guy. He's like the important one. If there's bad guys and people attacking Kahlan, would they want to be going to Richard?
Right. That's even the bad... Like, even if she was captured, why the fuck are they going south? He's
right.
Like, what?
It makes no sense to him.
Yeah.
But he has a good idea what that means, although the reader doesn't know that. It's just like, oh, and suddenly Richard says, I've got to go.
Yeah.
He's on to something.
Yeah.
And I like the way that Goodkind does that, because Richard gets it. And you, at that point, when that happens in the book, you have the information you need to deduce what Richard is thinking.
Yeah, it's like you don't even realize that you're doing it, probably, most of the time. You're
and it's peppered in here and there, and I miss it a lot of the times. I'm like, I have no idea what Richard is thinking. But then you just read a little bit further and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you can see where all that little stuff was. Those are details that he obviously can keep at the forefront of his mind, whereas I cannot. But I like it when you realize it, because you're like, oh, he was doing a thing.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Anyways, he remembers the Mriswith telling him that their queen needed help. And he decides he has to go. Like I said, he's like, yep, I know some shit. Smooth.
Yeah, I have a plan, and that's what's gonna happen, and everyone can fuck off.
And I'm going now. So as he takes off on the messenger's horse, no less, and he asks him, he's like, got a horse? He's like, yeah, but he's tired because I've been riding him. He's like, cool, taking your horse.
Yeah.
Bye. But as he leaves, Berdine is chasing him down, hollering at him, hey, you have to take off the Mriswith cape. No, Richard, please stop. Take off the Mriswith cape. Remember to do that. Warning, waving the book that he left up there that he'd been working
flags,
on.
You know?
Yeah. And he's like, ha, not likely. And then he rides away like a badass into the wind.
He's like, they're my friends.
And of course, here we see Richard breaking Wizard's first rule.
Yeah.
This is him doing it. And it's just, this is Richard doing it. Yeah, I regretted it once you snorted. I was like, yeah, I said a dumb thing. But that's what it is. He's like, nope, I waited long enough. Somebody has an idea of where Kahlan was, even if she's not found, and nobody's going to find her, so I have to do it.
At least he thinks that that's who the Mriswith were referring to.
The Mriswith? What do you mean?
When they were saying the queen needs help.
Oh, yeah.